Optimus Prime here. As you may have guessed, my original intention of doing a big long build and review video did not come to pass in the way I intended. Most of this was due to the fact that it ended up being 4.5 million years long, and nobody in their right minds would want to watch that. To be fair, the build video is 1.5 hours long, and I haven't even managed to get all the way through that, so kudos to you if you have. So this part of the video is going to be, well, separate video rather, is going to be a review and comparison between the new LEGO Optimus Prime and a few other LEGO-ish Optimus Primes. So yes, this part of the video is being recorded about a week later, and I just want to stress that I still 100% love this. It's so good. Anyway, on with the review. Bye.
And here he is in all of his glory. Unfortunately, I can't quite get him to all fit in frame, so we're going to have mostly 3/4 view rather than all the way down. But, you know, he does have feet and accessories, which we'll talk about in a few moments. Now, one thing I've noticed in the instructions and on the box, it shows these pieces to be this way round. Which, if you were to compare it to pretty much every other version of Optimus Prime, here is Red Series Optimus Prime. Those details are the opposite way around. Bit of dust there, sorry. And just looking around the many Optimus Primes in this room, that is true for all of them. So I think I might swap those over. I don't think I'm going to do it now because that might cause more problems. So all of these pieces are lovely grey. The stickers are showing up the light, so they actually look kind of silver. This is nicely chromed. It's catching the light very nicely. These bits should be straight like that. So very quickly, let's just have a look at sort of posability wise. You've got the joints on the shoulder allow a little bit of movement that way, but they're impeded by the plate on his shoulder. There's no way you can get that to go in a slot anywhere. So that's about that. The shoulders are actually ratcheted, so you've got quite solid movement. You can have his arms fully out in front of him. I mean, it's 360 rotation, so that's pretty cool. And then you've got ratchets at the elbows to swivel, and ratcheted elbows as well, so it can hold a decent pose. It's quite solid, so that's cool. The hands, it's just sort of a hinge joint for his thumb and his hand, and the wrist swivels, but not much more than that. The chest opens completely to expose the matrix. His head is on a ball joint, so you can look down, not really up because it's impeded at the back, and a full 360 degrees. Nice. So that's that. As mentioned before, there are no knee joints. There is a swivel at the knee, so you can sort of pose him with his shins facing at an odd angle. The legs have, again, a similar joint to the shoulders, well, same joint as the shoulders and the elbows, so they can come out at an angle about that far before they get impeded by the wheel, and they can go forwards and backwards that far forward and that far backwards. So there's not a huge amount of play there. And finally, the feet. Ooh, a bit's fallen off. Stick that back on. Oops. There you go. The feet have got similar joints there, and they can just about get a bit of ankle swivel, but that's it. Oh, and toe swivel. I think that's more part of the. Oops, get that in frame. More part of the transformation than anything else. So that's that. Push that back into the correct position. Right, so the accessories, you've got the Energon cube. Now I'm going to nitpick. This is my big nitpick. I would have preferred it to have another layer of the clear purple bricks, because then it would be more of a cube rather than a non-cubular shape. I mean, it's that way, but not that way. It's a nitpick, but you know. We've seen the plaque with the sticker, very nice. And this piece is the plate for transformation. The axe, which I've already shown you, is lovely with this really nice orange colour for the main part, but then all the energy effects have this sort of explosion sort of material, which I think is sort of from maybe some sort of the Marvel figures maybe. And this really it's just nice. It's just really quite nice. Yeah, so that's cool. I suppose the only downside is there's no rounded axe blade like just about every other version, so it's almost as if this bit should be the other way around. I don't know if I could do that. It would look a bit weird. Yeah, now it's got me wondering. No, sorry. I thought I'd had it wrong in the first place. So that looks a bit more like his traditional axe, but it's I don't know, it's a wee bit doofy that way. I'll go back to the other way. Yeah, do what you want with it, I suppose. I mean, the Energon Axe is obviously a mainstay of pretty much every single Optimus Prime figure that has come out in the last few years. Just looking around, I can see so many of them. But I must admit, I'm not a massive fan of the Energon Axe. So I probably won't use that. But his gun, oh, look at that rifle. It just looks spot on. Here's a G1 Prime. Here he comes. There we go. There it is. Fat Blaster. This is one of the more recent reissues. But you know that is pretty spot on for LEGO. I'm very, very impressed with that. And the build for it, I should have done the build for this one. Or did I do the build for this one? I forget. It was just really nice. Really, really fun. It's just really, really nice. Go down there. Really nice way of going together. It's like a central pole and then everything sort of slots on. It's really quite solid. Hopefully I'll be able to show you in a minute, but the one for the KO or the Lepin Bumblebee Movie Prime, the barrel just falls off all the time. Just poor quality. This is awesome. So putting it onto Prime himself, let's just move this stuff out of the way. Back you go. Ugh. So you just open his hand up, get his thumb out of the way, and then this literally just pegs into those two studs there. What's that? Ooh, thumb out of the way the other way. There we go. And then the hand just closes partially around it. It can't get all the way around, but and because of the sort of the ratchet joints, you've got quite a bit of posability there, and it's pretty stable. I mean, you don't I've got actual Optimus Prime figures that can't hold a pose that well, but that is pretty good. Threatening with his gun. Oh, Optimus Prime, give me your face. Right, there we go. And the only downside is you can't do the Optimus Prime pointing pose because he hasn't got any finger joints. I suppose you could not have this. Just get that off. If you took this piece off, you could have individually moving fingers. So you could have the pointing pose. If you wanted to, Optimus Prime needs you for the Autobots to defeat the Decepticons in LEGO. Yeah, that's quite cool that you've got that option if you wanted to. But it's LEGO, so you can have all the options you want. You could change really any parts of this to suit your needs if you were creative enough and had a little bit of time and a box full of spare Lego bits. Okay, so that is pretty much that. Let's just do his Energon Axe. Now, I believe you need to remove the hand like that. Is that it? And then there's that. No, that doesn't look right. Oh, it does look right. So in there you have, I think that's supposed to get out of the way. And then you pop that in there. Oh, actually that doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty cool. And we'll axe you. Axe. It doesn't rotate at all in that position. It's fairly static, but again, nice amount of posability. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Okay, right. Let's get this off of here. Pop his fist back on. Give me my hand. Oh, see that? Just slipped down a bit there. Yeah, it's going to hold a pose, but if you're going to mess around with it, some bits might slip down. But I think more or less it's going to stay as it should. Okay, so the bit we've all not been waiting for. Optimus Prime attempts to transform Optimus Prime. Now, let's just get all these pieces out of the way. I'm not sure how well this is going to show in the booth, but we shall see. Let's get this out of the way. Optimus, you need to get out of the way. Right, so the first thing I know we need to do is pop off this front plate here and swap it for this one. Which would probably be this way around, I guess. Probably push that on there. Okay. So, hey, that means you could go, if you really wanted, you could go for original G1 toy accuracy as opposed to toon accuracy. Haha. Right. Let us consult the Book of Armaments, because I have literally no faith in my own ability to do this without first having a look at the instructions. So, change. That looks pretty simple, doesn't it? Rotate the base. That one goes in there. That goes down. Oh, let's give it a go. Now put the manual down here on my lap, just in case I need it. So, let us pull this bit out. Oh, remove jetpack. That seems a sensible thing to do. Unclip. Pop that out the way. Oh, just notice it's got the same black triangle that the other ones have. Very nice. Good attention to detail, Hasbro and LEGO. Okay. So, we rotate the body around. Nice. And these pieces need to go like that to be his. Okay, gotta make sure the legs are straight. Oops, let's peg in. Okay, and then the headpiece rotates around to there. The hands, if we just close them up, like so, I think. And then whether that thumb piece needs to go there. Let's try that. And then on the same on this side. Okay, and these two bits come round. And then that needs to go to there, covering up his head. And then we need to do that first. We might need to turn that round a bit, I think. Or it's better facing the other way, I think. Okay, so the legs, they clip together. There's two little, can you see them there? There's a little clip there. It just holds those together. And then yeah, it's going to create a lot more room. Okay, so that goes there, then that just rotates round to there. Let's get the hand in the way. Oh no, bits come off. There we go. Downside to Lego is bits. Bits can come off whilst you're making it, which I suppose isn't really much different from a Hasbro figure. Parts are designed to detach when excessive force is applied. The hands are slightly wrong. We'll see in a minute when it doesn't all fit together. Goes there, that goes there. Those bits out. Those bits flat. And that fits. I think the hands. Definitely think the hands are wrong. They feel wrong. And everything doesn't quite match up. It's just popping down. And the feet go there. Oops. That goes there. And a few bits pop off. Oop, you can't see what I'm doing. A few bits popped off the feet. Ooh, if we get a piece there. So one of those in the spare box. Well, you can see what I'm doing. Appear to have forgotten a bit, unless it's gone somewhere else. It's slot down quite nicely. Right. So the hands. I think the hands are wrong. Let me just have a look at those. In the instruction manual, this is not very interesting to look at. There we go. See, he's all a bit odd. So, not like that. Okay, just like that. So the fingers should be out, and then that should. Oh, I see. Well, that actually works a lot better. So the fingers sort of almost go around the wheel rim. And suddenly everything fits together so much better. So then that goes there, that goes there, and the dog is barking, obviously in celebration of the completion of Optimus Prime. And that goes there, and that goes there. And my dog is still barking. That looks about right. Okay. That's actually pretty cool. It's not... Just check, make sure I've done everything correct. It does look like everything is popped in the right place. So that is that. That's a good roll on that. That's a very good roll. Yes. That is everything. Sorry. So it's a really nice, really good roll on that. You can roll that for days. And everything does seem to be pegged in. Doesn't quite match up at the back, but that's fine. So the head doesn't show through. Nothing's actually holding these side pieces on. So I think the way the ratchets work mean that things are a little bit gappy. But again, this is not an issue. And the front looks pretty cool, pretty clean. The sides again, pretty nice. I don't know if I can. It's a bit gappy there, but hey, it's not. It's Lego. It's a Lego thing. I mean, you could have. There's some pegs in there, so you could make a piece to sort of slot in there as a window if you wanted to. And obviously necessary gaps here for the transformation. So it has sacrificed a little bit of cleanliness for the transformation. Yeah, that's not a bad truck. Looks pretty cool. I could easily display this in truck mode if I wanted to, but I don't ever display anything in truck mode. So back to robot. Let's see if I can do this better. So arms. Let's put this out, and the hands come up. This is going to be better this time. Smoother. That bit pops in there. Yeah, see, you couldn't have anything there because these pieces take up that space. And actually, these peg into those two slots I looked at a minute ago. But as I say, if you're feeling creative, there is absolutely no reason why you couldn't make a piece to fill that gap. Head. Rotate. Okay, and then legs up, feet out. Rotate. Ooh, let's peg in a little bit better. Whew. Could have had an accident there, Optimus. Split the legs, and then the ankle tilt allows that to work. And those bits flip in and slot in there, and that goes there, and the one piece of parts forming. There you go. And that bit in. Here's Optimus. There we go. Wow, that ended up being a little bit longer than I intended, but wow, it's just lovely. It's so nice. It looks amazing. He's really well proportioned. The colours are fantastic. The transformation was fun and not overly scary. Although, as I say, it's Lego, so depending on how well you've built it, and also depending on how heavy-handed you are with it, the pieces will come off. But it is fun. It was a fun little transformation. I'm not gonna complain about that at all. There he is next to G1 Optimus, and let's just grab an MP44 Optimus. See, look, those details. Definitely the wrong way around. But that's what it says in the instructions. Naughty instructions. I will swap those over later. So yeah, he's so, that red is so bright as well. It's really nice. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about this now, and I'm gonna go. This is I can't put into words how just amazing it is to have an official LEGO Optimus Prime. I mean, I don't think this is not something I've ever thought was going to be possible. Obviously, Hasbro have had Build to Rule and Creo in the last sort of 15-20 years. Both of those were more or less terrible. Creo was at best a poor man's Lego. The amount of thought that had gone into some of the designs was off. They were all lanky. The heads were too small. I liked the Creons, the little robots, the little dudes, the Minifigs. That's the word. Okay, there's a blue streak. Ooh. Yeah, they were fine. Would it be nice to have Transformers Minifigs? Yes, that would be really cool. I don't think it'll happen. I suppose if this does really well, Hasbro may allow a few more to be done. Possibly a Megatron, that would be quite nice. But you know, Megatron would be Megatron would be a tank, I guess, because you could be a weapon of war. Yeah, so I mean, yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some more pictures. I'm going to do a comparison picture of him with the Bumblebee Prime, and depending on how I feel, I might do a little bit of video. Well, you'll see that in a minute. I'm going to stop waffling on now. This was an amazing experience. I am so happy, and I'm going to now go. Thank you for watching. I've been Optimus Prime. Goodbye. Exciting handheld bonus content. I thought I'd just do a quick video to add to the end of a little comparison of the other building block Optimus Primes that I have so far. Ooh, handheld. Sorry. So yes, there's the lovely LEGO Optimus Prime, who is obviously quite a wee bit shorter than the Lepin Bumblebee movie Prime. We'll have a look at him in a second. This is the Creo Basics Optimus Prime. You can tell because it says Optimus Prime on his crotch. Just what you want. Those weird rubbery heads that they did in different sizes and colours. This one I think was a 2-pack with Megatron. It's a little bit more movie-esque in some respects, and the larger scale one, which again was sort of a weird hybrid of G1 and movie aesthetics, with a G1E head and window boobs, but the rest is obviously movie inspired. Now the big problem with all of these Creon ones is the joints that they have. These, you can see there, they're like rubber balls and sockets. Now they can be quite stiff and hold a pose quite well, but also if you just put that in slightly the wrong angle, it just, I mean, that's pretty much popped off. So it's barely held on at all. But yeah, oops, my arm in the way. And that's the other issue. The feet are on the same joint, which means that if you get him in the right position, he'll stay, but you move him at all and he will just fall over. This one's a little bit more sturdy, but yeah, I mean, they're cheap, a much cheaper price point when they came out, and they're a lot more basic, and of course none of these other figures transforms. They're all take apart and rebuild in truck mode. A very basic, low parts count. The plastic quality on the
dusty, very dusty. The plastic quality on the Creo ones it's not as good as normal Lego. Sorry, moving about a lot. Some of the parts don't fit quite as well, and yeah, it just feels a bit cheap and looks a bit cheap. The problem with the Creo stuff is it always looked like it was a bit of a knockoff. I mean, look at this. How is this an official Optimus Prime toy? I mean, to be fair, it's not bad posable. It can do all of the movements you'd expect. Wheels roll a bit. Had this thing where they had a joint, sorry, a piece that's like a peg with a ball joint on it that all the heads went on, but they all didn't fit flush with the things. So they've all got these weird sticky up heads, which kind of looks like they're wearing somebody else's head. I don't know. Hips that are sort of halfway down his thighs and no knees. But again, this was about 7 or 8 quid when it came out, and I think I got it for like 2 or 3 quid on a sale. So can't really fairly compare it to this that is obviously far superior. This one, oh dear, he's doing it again. Stop it. Stay. This one, price wise, was I think about 70 quid when it came out, give or take. I could be wrong. It did come with the trailer, and obviously you can build it as the truck and trailer. And it came with some minifigs, which of course this dude doesn't. But I mean, you can just by having a quick look at it, you can see that this one blatantly contains way more parts. And that terrible rubber head again. It's very odd choices. I mean, yes, the head does look more Optimus Prime-y, I suppose. But I don't know, that just looks so much better to me. Again, I don't want to just completely fanboy over how much I love this one, but if you compare it to the other ones that exist, they're just not on par. And again, this is official Hasbro product. Now, this fella is not official by any means. It's I think it was Lepin, Chinese knockoffs. Now, there are some very, very good points to this. It was a very complicated build. There is a lot of parts in there, and it does look, I mean, it looks stunning. I can't really knock it in terms of looks, but there are lots of issues. The pieces are really poor quality plastic. I had a couple of pieces, maybe not on this one, maybe on Bumblebee, a couple of pieces snapped whilst I was making it, and I've never had that happen with a Lego set. I know other people may have had that, but personally I've never had that with a Lego set. And then it's just the way it holds together, and this yeah, so the legs don't move. I think there might be a knee joint, I can't remember, but there isn't a hip joint, so the knee joint is redundant if there is one. Actually looking at it, I don't think there is a knee joint either. So there's no joints in the legs at all, so this Prime does beat it on that. And these two pieces in here hold the legs together, because the two joints there are prone to just sliding apart. So he ends up just sort of doing the splits. I think they're, yeah, see that one there is already not tabbed in properly, which means the legs should be further in. Anyway, the head is on a bit more of a sort of bigger ball joint. Can't quite see in there. It's got a bit more movement to it, but when you can only look down at the top of your boobs, there's not really a lot of point to it. You can look up a little bit more than the other one. Now, the arm joints here there's like a weird double like joint in there. So there's the ball joint, the same as the Creo ones, the sort of rubbery thing, which can just barely support its own weight. Barely. And these bits I can't quite see, but it's really wobbly. And then when you put the gun hand out, which it does hold quite well, it's got the ratcheted joints the same as the Lego version, but the hand just sort of limply cannot hold the gun. So it sort of just limply things, and then we just pop that back to straight. Now obviously everything is holding on whilst I'm doing this as an example. The arms, you can't go out at all. It's literally forwards. You can go out a little bit. Okay, I lied. So you can do a little bit of posability there. But when you've only got arms and hands that can pose, you kind of want them to stay in a position. Now, look, sort of come out a bit there. So it's not too bad, but there's so little holding it on that it's a wonder that it stays on at all. In fact, you can see it's separated. So, oops, I'll push that back in. I'm not going to bother now. Not whilst holding my camera. And bits just come off really easily. That is barely held on. You touch it and that comes off. This whole section had fallen off earlier, but seems to be more secure now, so I'll leave that. And the gun barrel is held on by the tiniest of pieces, and just, I mean, you saw how easy that was to come off. It just look, it's held on by a single stud. This whole long, reasonably weighty for Lego part, just pop it back in there. It's held on by one single stud. But again, I don't want to just be poo-pooing all over this, because I do actually love it. It's just not as good as this. And yes, it's bigger, but price-wise, I seem to remember paying over 100 quid for that. And I paid 150 quid for this. Well, I didn't, because I used my Lego points. And this is, it's by far the best, and you would expect it to be. It's official Lego, it's officially sanctioned by Hasbro. They've gone to a lot of effort, they've put a lot of thought into it, and it's just awesome. Anyway, that was a much longer than I intended to, quick-ish comparison between some Creo abominations and the Lego one and the Lepin one. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Fingers on plastic.